This week on the Game Marks podcast, we play WCW wrestling for the NES. Our deep dive covers everything you need to know about this hot seller from the 90s, and we ask the question everybody wants to know. Will we play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is George Feast.
And I'm Gianni Clash, and this week we are playing World Championship Wrestling for the NES.
And as always, we love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen, and join the conversation on social media at Game Marks Pod. Johnny boy.
Hey, what's up, Georgie?
Another week, another game. How you feeling? Hope everyone's doing well and safe.
I hope I'm doing well and safe. I hope you're doing well and safe. Our families are okay. Hopefully all of our listeners are okay. And if you're not, hopefully this picks you up.
There is a very small, and I mean very small, silver lining to everything that's going on. And that is that now, maybe you're finding time to either do projects that you've been putting off. Maybe you're finding yourself a little bit extra time to either watch some shows you've been meaning to watch or play some games you've been meaning to play. Maybe I'm hoping that you're making good use of all this time that we have.
I think the first 2 days where me and my wife were working from home, we already ran through like 3 or 4 shows, like in their entirety.
We watched, what's it called on Netflix? It's called 100 Humans.
That's on our list. We didn't get to it yet.
It is very, very interesting, and I hope that they do another season because it's pretty funny. It's very interesting. It's a nice little experiment.
All right. I've been a big fan of Altered Carbon, as I've said in the past, so I'm not binging because, it's going to be another year before season 3, probably, maybe longer, so I'm kind of doing every day an episode, and then I'm binging, like, the whatever, but yeah, that's what I'm on. So, anyway, WWF Betrayal. We both futured endeavored at the same time. Are we leaving it buried?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's keep breaking out those shovels.
Okay, that's what I thought. And as you all know, our contest is going on right now, where all you have to do is go on Apple Podcast and just leave us a 5-star, either a rating or a review. It could be those 5 little stars, or you could write a review with it. Send us a screenshot, either before, after, just proof that it's you, on all social media. You could do it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, email. Let us know that you did it, and you will be entered to win a WWE Cody Rhodes pre-tattooed autograph.
I saw a very funny picture. You may have actually been the one to share this picture with me. And it said, Cody Rhodes got a chest tattoo on his neck and a neck tattoo on his chest.
I did not share that with you, but that's hilarious.
And I was like, oh, that is actually kind of funny.
Very true.
Yes.
All right, so what do you say we hit him with some gaming news?
All right, this is all you, buddy. Take us through some gaming news.
What's up, Game Marks Podcast? This is Danny Tancredi, and I'm here with my brother Johnny Tancredi, and together we are the Cult Looking Podcast. Each week we bring to you the latest news and reviews on all things baseball collectibles. From baseball cards and memorabilia to bobbleheads and stadium giveaways, each episode will discuss the newest products to hit the shelves of your local card store and your favorite ballparks around the country. Be sure to be following us on Instagram at the Cult Looking Podcast and on Twitter at CultLookingBB. New episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to tune in wherever great podcasts, like this one, are available. The Cult Looking Podcast. Don't get caught looking, start collecting.
While most of the video game industry's biggest events for the year have now been canceled or postponed, Game Developers Conference was one of the very first. The conference would have kicked off on March 16th last week, but the growing threat of the coronavirus pandemic resulted in postponement from the event's organizers, Informatech. The pandemic is still very much on the forefront of everyone's minds, but Informatech has officially rescheduled the event. GDC Summer will be held August 4th through 6th at Moscone Center in San Francisco. It remains to be seen what the virus status will be during that time, but Informatech has stated that they will continue to monitor the situation until then. The PlayStation 5 is one of the most revolutionary inspired home consoles ever designed, according to one of the developers. Last week, Sony finally revealed the PS5's full specs, and on top of this, it also revealed more details about the console's backwards compatibility. Unfortunately for Sony, the pair of reveals garnered little hype. In fact, they were met with a wave of criticism and mockery. For one, PlayStation fans weren't impressed with the presentation itself. Meanwhile, many quickly compared the console specs to the specs of the Xbox Series X, which didn't do the console any favors because on paper, the Series X has PS5's number when it comes to the power. However, seeing this response, many developers have taken to Twitter suggesting that PS5 is a lot more impressive than many understand. And that is it for the gaming news this week. Check back next week.
I am so ready to see that first bit, like the real bit of gameplay from the next gen consoles, where you would see it at, an E3 or PAX or something. I'm really looking forward to it, because specs are one thing. I mean, I'm a PC guy, so I've built computers for most of my life, but it's just something else when it's a console, because that's just going to be a torchbearer for the next decade or so.
Yeah, it's funny to think, like, when you go back to like Attitude or like a Nitro game, and you're like, there's no up from here. This is as realistic as it's going to get. And now you look at like Death Stranding, where like every strand of hair, no pun intended, on Norman Reedus' hair just blow in the wind while he's standing there. Like, it's just crazy. Like, what are we going to see next?
Oh, yeah. It's nuts. The fact that you can open up certain video game cutscenes and see the pores on people's faces. I'm like, have we gone too far? Do I really need to see people's pores?
If it makes sense, it looks more realistic than actual people.
Yeah. Almost, yeah. It's too high def at some points.
But that remains to be seen, and I'm pretty excited, because even looking at The Last of Us 2 screenshots and videos that they've been posting on their Instagram, it's like, oh my God.
All right. It is now time for the question of the week.
Hey, George. Are you ready? I said, are you ready for our Pro Wrestling Tees store? Brace yourself, because the Game Marks podcast is now on ProWrestlingTees.com, featuring multiple designs designed by us. Head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod today to either play it forever or future endeavor.
Question of the week is exactly what it sounds like. Each week, John and I go back and forth, ask each other's questions, and then we like to present the question to you, our wonderful listeners, and you respond to us on any form of social media at GameMarksPod. Last week, my question was, what were some interesting and maybe random places that you have interacted with wrestlers? And boy, did this question blow up.
Boy, did it. If you want to see the responses, head on over to our Twitter. Check out the graphic from last week where we posed the question and just read some of the responses. There are some awesome ones, but Georgie, there was one I forgot to tell you.
Okay.
I mentioned how I saw Mike Tenay and Don West, gave them the little head nod outside of a gas station in Orlando, but For many, many years through like high school, a little through college, I worked at an ice cream store. And who used to come in at least once a week? Because we used to have like the buy one get one free special every Wednesday.
Ooh, can I guess? Can I guess?
Did you? If you read my tweet last week, then don't guess. But if not, guess.
No, I legit did not. But I have a guess because I also have one that I forgot and didn't remember. So if it's the same person, it's a great segue. Is it Mick Foley?
No. See, you're a Suffolk County guy. I'm a Nassau County guy. So it was Taz.
Interesting.
So when I was younger, I would say like middle school, the word on the street, like, Taz lives around here now. Be like, what? And then like a car goes by and like a guy waves and everyone's like, yo, it's Taz. And I was like, I didn't see him. I didn't see it. So fast forward 10 years, I guess. And, I'd be working and all of a sudden Taz walks in. Now, like, when you start sweating a little, you start getting nervous, you start pacing, you start talking really fast. It just so happened that when Taz walked in, I was wearing TNA sweatpants.
Oh.
Taz worked for TNA at the time. So obviously that caught him off guard because who in their right mind in this world wears TNA sweatpants? I still have them. They're still in the drawer. But
really,
that kind of, set off conversation. This had to be like '09, I would say, because we were talking about Bound for Glory with Hulk Hogan and Jeff Hardy turning. And from there, like every week he would come in, he would remember me, and we'd have like lengthy conversations about like TNA. And it was pretty awesome.
Wow.
But then like once like the new store owner took over, like it was the celebrity, so he had to take care of him. And like I couldn't talk to Taz anymore.
That's kind of lame. But hey, you know what? At least you got a little bit of time to like have your
it was awesome.
Your mark out bro moment with Taz.
And like half the time he would start the conversation, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard just based off all the responses that we got, and again, just to reiterate what we said, there were a lot of responses, too many for us to actually single some out, just because these are lengthy stories of people's interactions. And seriously, we retweeted pretty much every one of them. You have to go and check it out. It's awesome.
Yeah. So,
but my other story was as a kid, went to
was a skid.
And no one knew my name. Went to Hershey Park, as we did fairly. Yeah, I would say like almost every summer. That was like the big summer vacation trip that we took.
Place.
One year walking around, and my cousin looks at my aunt and goes, "I'm pretty sure that's Mick Foley." My aunt yells and says, "No, there's no way that's Mick Foley. It's just the guy that looks like him." And he's there with Noel and Dewey and his wife, and I guess he overheard the conversation, and he looks up at the group of us and just waves and gives us a little nod to assure that it was him. And it was just really cool.
I can't even imagine
it was
like
a nice little
going to a theme park when you're like that popular. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, like this was, I don't know, 98, 99.
Oh god, yeah. It's like, okay, Dad, we get it.
Yeah, I was just like, I guess he was kind of hoping that maybe because is he Mankind still, or has he gone through like?
Oh, he's Mankind. Yeah.
98, 99. He's gone through Cactus Jack, Dude Love. So people definitely know what he looks like without his mask on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're well into
even like the casual.
You're well
fan
into the
knows.
Foleys.
Oh,
that's a good one.
But yeah, that's my other story. But hey, you know what? If anyone else has some other stories that they want to let us know, at Game Mark Spot on all forms of social media. But enough about that. About last week's question, Johnny boy. It is your week. What do you got for me?
So we've brought up before our top favorite entrance songs, but I want to pose the question to you. What wrestler's second entrance song is better than the original?
Ooh.
So like, it doesn't have to be the second. It could be, I guess, the third or fourth. Just a different incarnation of their original song, but better than the original. Your favorite one?
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Triple H, because, The Game is such an amazing, iconic song, but that contradicts me saying that it was my favorite one, which it is. Does Mankind to Mick Foley count? Or no, Mankind Wrecked? I'll go that, because that's a second theme.
Yeah, it is.
It
That's
used
a good
to be
one.
what I call the planetarium music, and
I get that.
It then went to Wrecked. I liked Wrecked. What about you? What's your number 2?
Okay. I want to say
your number 2, number 1.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Edge. I loved his original. The remake of the original was good. The Alter Bridge version is up there, but I'm gonna go with the Rob Zombie "Never Gonna Stop."
Oh, okay.
That is just like, to me, that's like
that.
Edge's rise right there as a singles wrestler. That was a killer album. Everything on it was awesome. Sinister's Urge, I think, right? If
I'm trying to think of other ones, like you got Taker. Taker's got, that classic normal one. But then you go to
Man Walking.
You done it, man.
That was the second version of that one, even.
And then you have the Limp Bizkit. You have the Kid Rock. You have wow. Oh, I just thought of another good one. What about Taker to Ministry Taker? With like that crazy
I wasn't a big fan of that one.
I don't know. That
Yeah, I guess. Also another one that was pretty cool was speaking of DX, the Run DMC version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like that one.
I'm with you on that one.
Other than that, I think there's sometimes it like ruins a person's theme song. Like, I don't like Drew McIntyre's theme song now because of how good Broken Dreams was. And then
I don't know.
It's good. It's just not Broken Dreams. But then they also re-released Broken Dreams back then a little differently with a different intro, and I thought that was worse.
Now, so here's an interesting twist. Hypothetically, someone's answer is they like Cesaro's original entrance music. Does that count as a remix of Dean Malenko's? Because it's a remix of Dean Malenko's original song. Does that count as a number 2?
I don't think so.
Oh, someone's going to say, I can guarantee you this, someone's going to say Real American to
Voodoo Child?
NWO.
Oh, okay.
Or Voodoo Child.
That was an interesting pick back then, but I liked it. It fit Hogan.
Oh, this is a very... I was just thinking of all these people who've had, like, Jeff Jarrett.
With my baby tonight.
Oh, you know what's another good one? Hardcore Holly.
How do you like me now?
How do you like me now?
Oh, there's so many. All right, and as usual, we're going to pose this question to all of you. What is your
this
favorite...
is a question that could go on for a long time.
Yeah, what is your favorite second or third or fourth incarnation of an original theme song? Hit us with it. But now...
Fantastic.
Now, Georgia.
Or Georgia.
Do you want to, take that plunge?
I think it's time for the hashtag deep dive of the week as we dive into WCW wrestling. Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style. All right, John. So, WCW World Championship Wrestling.
The best three letters.
Your pride and joy. Your first love. For the NES. Released December 9th, 1989 in Japan and April of 1990 in North America. Developed by Hiromu Yamamoto and published by FCI Inc. I mean, the menu, the gameplay. You'll see it when you post our Clash at the Feast this week. The menu
it's
to
pretty.
This, very simple. It's very, very nice looking. Designed beautifully. Very aesthetically pleasing for the times.
Now, this counters WWF WrestleMania on the NES on the other side by Acclaim from WWF. So the two companies are going at it in real life and in the video game front.
And on console.
Yeah.
This is the real console war, guys.
this is it. Yep.
Now, there's not a whole lot to this game. You really load in, you have your single player mode, it's a single and a tag match, and then you have your 2-player mode where you have a single and a tag match. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it, but it's in a very pretty package, wouldn't you say?
I mean, yeah. Are we talking artwork?
Like a surprisingly pretty package.
Is that an artwork package or like the whole game is a package?
I you know what? I'll say both. But that's a good lead off for us to talk about this artwork. Throw in WCW NES artwork into your Google machine, and once you throw that into your Google machine, you will see what is arguably the first thing I notice about this cover is that it looks like Hawk has a clown nose on. It's literally just like the first thing that I went to. I don't know why. It's just... Also, as a kid, how badass were those shoulder pads?
I mean, how badass were the Road Warriors in general?
Oh, yeah. Just as a whole, but like as a kid, watching them come to the ring, either on motorcycles or just walking themselves, to have them see them with those shoulder pads and the face paint, like this was like the embodiment of like those larger than life badass guys that you just wanted to be.
Yeah, they were the coolest. And looking at this cover, you know what I always say about a game cover, it has to look like a wrestling game cover. If you put the Road Warriors on the cover of a wrestling game, it's a goddamn wrestling game.
That's a wrestling game if I ever seen
Plus,
one.
it says wrestling big in red, which is awesome.
Yeah. Now I'm not super well versed in the world of WCW. We've talked about that. I did not appreciate WCW for what it was until much later. Was this at one point a WCW logo, or is this a game logo strictly for the game?
You mean what? The WCW up top, the blue?
Like both. Well, I know the blue is they had that, and then they used a million different variants of that up until they did that god awful
exploding vagina.
Whatever. Yeah. But was it ever written out like with the flexing arm?
Doesn't look familiar to me. I mean, back in the day, I feel like they just kind of always did this. They just gave the game like its own logo, I guess. Yeah. I could be wrong.
With this
Correct
Jurassic
me if I'm
Park
wrong.
style looking font.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of resembles like the home screen, how it's like neon lightsy.
Yeah.
Now,
but
this cover, other than the Road Warriors, it has that beautiful official Nintendo seal of quality.
Love it.
It has Nintendo Entertainment System on the spine, so you know it's real. But my favorite part, featuring the Road Warriors and stars of the NWA. Now, in 1989, when this game was released, WCW was still a part of the NWA. So this is WCW's first ever console video game, and it's under NWA technically.
Huh. That's very. I didn't even realize that until just now.
And now the next WCW game didn't come until 1994 for the Game Boy, which was WCW The Main Event, and 94 also for Super Nintendo, WCW Super Brawl Wrestling, which we covered in the archives. So that's quite a gap between the two when WWF was pumping out games left and right, 3 a year, 4 a year, whatever. Now, you want to take through the back cover?
Yeah, so back cover, again, you see that same beautiful flexing arm logo from the front, and it says, challenge the world's greatest wrestling... Challenge the world's greatest wrestlers in the grappling action game that puts you in the toughest competition of all. Choose which wrestlers you want to be, or make up your own tag team from top NWA stars, including Nature Boy Ric Flair, Sting, the Total Package Lex Luger, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, and the Dog Face Gremlin, Rick Steiner. Become your favorite wrestlers as you battle it out in the ring.
And you got the three pretty little
bullet
screenshots.
points.
Look, you got he's holding the wrench in the screenshot.
He's holding the wrench.
We didn't know that was a thing until we got thrown outside the ring, and someone in the crowd just throws a wrench, and you could pick it up, and there's no DQ, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. It caught me off guard. He hit me with it. It was hilarious. So the bullet points on the back, you have 12 top stars of the NWA. Pair up your own tag teams with any two wrestlers, 1 or 2 players, because back in the day, that was something that needed to be stated. Wrestlers are thrown over the top ropes and continue fighting out of the ring. On-screen statistics of each wrestler. Is that was a thing?
Yeah, look at the top screenshot.
Oh, I thought they meant like mid-match.
No.
I was like, they didn't show anything during the match. Excited animated graphics and realistic sound effects. Ooh. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit. And then you have your 3 screenshots. A screenshot of Rick Steiner, the aforementioned wrench shot on the outside, and what I can only assume is the Scorpion Deathlock being applied
probably
to Ric Flair.
That's what it looks like.
Fun note: the FCI logo with the eye. Later on, many versions later, for future consoles, the eye actually animates and blinks when they display it in the loading screen.
Wow, cute! Like Aru monsters.
Yeah. Yes, exactly like that.
Now, let's talk about the gameplay a little bit, because this one was very different from the other wrestling game counterparts. So, each wrestler has 8 selectable moves, which include 2 Irish whip moves and a finisher. So the player, before each game, it brings up a selection screen of different moves, and you get to pick 4 of them and assign them to a direction on the D-pad. That's nothing we've really seen yet, and it's kind of cool. I think the last time we saw something like this was Cutie Suzuki, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. But this, I liked that you, not only did you get to pick it, but because every match is a series of 3, you can switch around your moveset each match. Like, it gives you the chance to like reassign your moves, which was interesting. I definitely thought that the first match that we played, it was going to be those same 4 moves for all 3 matches.
Yeah, it's cool. It doesn't make it boring at all, because you're constantly changing everything.
Yeah. Keeps it fresh.
Yeah. So each wrestler has their own finisher. They're performed only in the middle of the ring and can be accomplished when the opponent has 2 squares remaining on his health meter. The move is performed by pressing A and B simultaneously. Finishers deliver significantly more damage than a regular move and are likely to end the match in a knockout or submission. Now here's kind of, I like this. The screen isn't cluttered with health bars and little 8-bit pictures of who you are. Like, you know who you are.
Yeah.
It's
The
bare.
sprites aren't bad either.
It's just the ring, the crowd, your sprite, the timer on the bottom.
The occasional ref that runs in.
Yeah, only when you're pinning, we didn't get a submission, but only when you're pinning, the ref shows up.
Or, oh no, he's not even there during the count. It's just like the little window that gives you the count. He's not even there, like waving up his hands.
Yeah. Other than that, all you see is the time on the bottom, and when you're pinning, that time turns into like a counter of 1, 2, or 3 with like 1.6. He kicked out at 1.6. You know, I like that a lot. But
so many 2.9 kickouts in our match.
when you do a move, there's another meter that comes up on the bottom, and that shows kind of your health. So it goes back and forth. If you fill up the bars, if you get them all the way, that's when it's time to hit the finisher. So actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of like the health bar in Mayhem. But instead of showing both wrestlers, it shows it for only the one doing the move. It's kind of the same little like tug-of-war-y type thing.
Yeah, that's true. They also did something similar. I mean, it's not necessarily tug of war, but it scales. It shows you a nice scale of the damage.
Yeah.
And it's nice that it's not there all the time. Like you said, it's not like always overhead, always, on the footer. It's not distracting. It lets you, a little suspension of disbelief and be in that match for a little bit.
Yeah, so the ways to actually win, there's obviously a pinfall. There's give up, which is, applied with a hold. There's out of ring count out, which is the count of 20. And yeah, so there's a point system for how it works. So winning by giving up or pinfall is 4 points. Out of ring or a penalty is 2 points. Now, penalties when you climb to the top rope, and it's a 5 count to get down. NWA rules. We didn't make them up. And a draw is 1 point, and all losses are 0 points.
So there are some slight differences between the American version and the Japanese version. Now, the name is the first thing. Superstar Pro Wrestling in 1989 is a Japanese professional wrestling game made by Nihon Busan and published by Pony Canyon for the Famicom. Now, we've played a Famicom game or two in the past. It pretty much is the Japanese version of the original Nintendo. And this released December 9th and features the same kind of single-player, two-player modes.
A little bit of a different roster, right?
Yeah, so this game featured some of the all-time Japanese legends, like Giant Baba, Antonio Inoki, and frequent visitor of the podcast for some odd reason in all of these games, Stan Hansen.
And movies.
And movies. Oh, yeah. That's why he's top of mind. Yeah. So, in addition to the Japanese legends, there are also a few inaccuracies.
Ooh,
some of the wrestlers. There are some birthday errors and some hometown errors for Big Van Vader.
Oh. Don't want to piss off
Now,
Big Van Vader.
And apparently this was done to protect his real identity and his gimmick, which I guess is understandable.
Oh, okay.
But
now you can just Wikipedia
it's different times, man. This is before the date, the time of Wikipedia and Twitter and easy access of pretty much any kind of information.
Yeah.
Now, the only two wrestlers to appear in both games, though. Could you guess? If you had to guess.
I'm thinking of the roster. Who else was popular in Japan? 2. I'm going to say Road Warriors.
Yeah, you're right. The only two wrestlers to appear in both Superstar Pro Wrestling and WCW Wrestling are Road Warrior Animal and Road Warrior Hawk.
All right. So what do you say we get into the rest of this roster here?
Now, wait a second. I have an idea. When we save some time here, why don't we give the roster and what their finisher is
Okay. Want me to?
at the same time?
All right.
And
I'll.
if you want to tag me and you let me know.
Okay. See how you just assume that like I'm gonna read them, but it's fine.
Who did last week?
The roster of 4.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Who did it?
All right. Well, first we have Ric Flair. His finisher, the jumping neckbreaker drop. Sounds cool. Lex Luger, the neck ringer. Mike Rotunda, double arm suplex. Kevin Sullivan, brainbuster. Sting, scorpion deathlock. Rick Steiner, belly to belly suplex. Ricky Steamboat, flying body press. Hawk, lariat. Animal, power slam. Steve Williams, Oklahoma Stampede. Eddie Gilbert, jumping elbow drop. And Michael P.S. Hayes with a DDT. And now, there's a final boss in this game. A lot of people don't know about this boss. WCW Worldwide told me he did not know about this boss.
No intellectual property being
giant
stolen
machine
here. Definitely doesn't look like anybody.
Yeah, it's literally giant machine. It's Andre. Yeah, it's Andre.
It's Andre.
Yeah, giant machine
Andre
Andre
with a mask on.
Yeah, giant machine Andre.
Blue
his name
singlet,
is
single
the
strap.
WCW Master. He towers over all the other sprites. He's wearing the single strap singlet like Paul White, who wasn't around then. Cool mask, but yeah, like we said, yeah.
The sprite makes it look like he's got a venom mouth.
Yeah, I could see that, or like Spawn, kind of.
Yeah.
Now, in single player mode, when you go through the singles, you have to fight all the wrestlers to achieve the world title. And that's when you get to the WCW Master. So after you defeat all the wrestlers, you get the minor title. And after winning the minor title, you can go and fight all the wrestlers again to win the world title. And this time, the WCW Master is waiting for you. And he's very hard to beat, and you have to take a few tries because apparently this is impossible at first. I want to give it a go. I might revisit this tomorrow and report back.
All right.
Now, there's also tag team mode where you could do a 1-player game, which is a 15-minute round, and then the 2-player game, which is 30-minute, 3-minute rounds.
The rounds thing was interesting because we've done that a couple of times where we've done 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And on the occasion we've done a best of 7, I believe.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But you know, it's nice to have it already built into the game.
Yeah, I think, was it Super Brawl that also had that?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so
maybe that's just like a.
It was an old school thing.
Is that a new thing that's so WCW?
It's actually a UK thing. That their matches have rounds like that, like a UFC fight.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but.
All right, well, that's pretty much it about game modes. Like we said, there's not a ton to it, but I don't know, John. I'm feeling a little tired. How about you?
A little tense. You need a little.
Yeah, I think
need a little R&R.
A little R&R, John. Why don't you take us through some ratings and reviews here?
All right, so being the game is from 1989, 1990, there's not many actual, ratings from magazines or publications, but the GameSpot user rating gives it a 6.9 out of 10. The Game FAQ user rating gives it a 3, you're going to love this one, 3.12 out of 5. And the Moby Games user rating, a 3.5 out of 5. So pretty, a little bit above average. Not half, a little bit more. So it's, Now, WCW Wrestling was the working title for at least 2 other WCW games. One was a canceled game for the Game.com handheld system. Do you remember that? You trying to forget like I am?
Yeah.
And the other was the sequel to WCW Mayhem that was supposed to be on the PS2, and it was later renamed It was later renamed WCW Mayhem 2, but it was eventually canceled when WCW was sold to the WWF. God damn it, Vince, I wanted Mayhem 2. Instead, we got Backstage Assault. But stop laughing.
He sounds so mad.
Oh, I think it's time to hit it with some fast facts.
Alrighty.
WCW Wrestling is the only video game based on the National Wrestling Alliance, which at the time WCW was still a part of.
After the Road Warriors left WCW for the WWF, WCW continued to advertise the game in their own catalogs with a mock-up cartridge showing Sting on the label, though no such copies of the game with an alternative label are known to exist or believed to have ever been manufactured.
Oh. And to date, the game has sold over 100,000 copies.
Jeez. Well, if you wanted to get your own copy, we got your loose price at $8.51, the complete package for $31.46, and if you are a MIB collector, you can get it brand spanking new for $259 and 24 cents.
You got to give the 24 cents. I bet they charge for shipping too.
Absolutely.
Plus $3.49 for shipping. Now, I would do anything to get my hands on a cartridge with that Sting mock-up on it. You know me. I have over, I think at this point, 45 Sting figures. I have his T-shirts.
Would you pay $300 for it?
If I told you I've paid more for a Sting item, would you be surprised?
No.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that.
No. Do you own an NES though?
No, but does that matter?
I guess if you're buying it for $300, it would be mint, so you wouldn't even really want to open it. But I would assume if you had the game, you'd want to play it.
Yeah, I've actually had my eye on a Kevin Eastman signed TMNT NES game, but that's not something I would play. It would definitely be displayed, and I wouldn't be opposed to buying like a game like this just for like display purposes.
My goal now is to get the cover of NWO Revenge, or WCW NWO Revenge signed by everyone on the cover.
That would be phenomenal. That's actually doable. Goldberg, Nash, Hogan, and Raven. That's pretty doable.
Yeah.
All right, Georgie. Our weekly competition has resumed. It's time for Clash at the Feast. So like we said, it's a best of 3. George picked Ric Flair in his beautiful mustard yellow and black tights. And the hair flow was beautiful though. I picked Sting, obviously, in his Jerry Lawler red and black tights with his Road Warriors face paint and his pink body. So not like him, and he's usually really tan. The first match was pretty long. You gave me a whooping, but I think we were still trying to feel it out because we played before, but
playing against a computer is always different than playing against someone who actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think we got the hang of it pretty quickly. Yeah. So, match number 2, I took it. This time it was only in 3 minutes, so I think we got the hang of it. We figured out the moves. We threw in some submissions to just kind of, get the feel of those. And then we got to match 3. And this is where, as my grandma would say, it went ashkavi. It was, what?
It what?
It went Ashkavir. I don't know what it means, but it's a grandma saying.
Okay.
When when the
Cool.
kids are wrestling, stop it! It's gonna end Ashkavir. Some Italian thing. I don't know.
I don't even know how to spell that.
I don't either.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I got nothing.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's not coming up in the Google. So
yeah. Besides all that, Game 3 ended in a time limit draw. Now, you'll see when we post tomorrow the Clash at the Feast video. The last pin I got on you with 18 seconds left was a 2.9. If
2.9.
If I hit that one more move with seconds left, I could have taken it. But for the first time ever, Clash at the Feast has ended in a draw. So I don't know what music we play. Maybe we don't play any music. There it is. All right, so the score now. George, you're sitting at 16 up top. I'm sitting at a measly little 9, and we both have one draw.
Okay. Hot take, really quick. Interesting thought. What if we don't do the draw, and we both just add 1?
No,
Okay.
that's not how it works.
Okay. Hey. It was a thought. Either that or it's just it doesn't go on.
All right.
All right, John.
Well, wait.
It's time.
Wait. You have to say what you came up with last week.
What did I come up with?
It's time to rate the games.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right, John.
oh, okay. Here you go.
Do you know what time it is, John?
Please tell me, because I have no idea.
It's time to rate the games.
The game!
Picturing your face while you say it.
Just literally as angry and scrunched up as it could possibly be.
Uh-huh.
So, Johnny Clash, WCW World Championship Wrestling, featuring the stars of NWA, for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Will you play it forever?
Woo!
Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Now, I believe I future endeavored Super Brawl. I think it was really the ring positioning, the overhead 3/4 that I didn't like. I think this being the first of the series, that was a regress. Super Brawl. I think this game set a tempo with the choosing the moves, having the really cool animated moves. Everything looked devastating. It had way more than pro wrestling. It had way more than WrestleMania. The roster's pretty damn cool. I would like a little more detail in the sprites, whether it's just color options, like maybe give Ric Flair, the trunks he's worn his entire career, not tights.
Not tights.
But I think I pretty much looked past all that because this game was a lot of fun to play. And with that, I'm going to say, play it forever.
Woo!
Oh.
And there goes Rick.
You know what? I'm just gonna keep it simple, man. I agree with everything that you said. This is I'm playing it forever too, man.
Woo!
And this was fun. Simple, not a lot to it. Something that you can easily pick up just if you want to play a wrestling game for, you don't have like enough time to like sit down and go through a whole story mode, but you want to just play something super quick. Pick it up. Relive those childhood graphics that you hopefully, I'm assuming most of our listeners probably grew up with these kind of graphics. And yeah, it's just something fun, simple about it. You don't always need to have the overcomplicated style games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And this is what we grew up on, like you said, with Nintendo games like Blades of Steel and baseball and Mario being super simple. So
yeah, sometimes less is more.
So we both agree. Okay, cool.
All right, back at it. Back at it with Clash of the Feast, matching on the ratings as usual. Sometimes, who knows? I feel like we've been more consistently agreeing lately, which is weird.
So why don't you say what we're playing next week?
Next week on the podcast, we are playing a game that I've never played and a game that I've never heard of.
Same.
I'm very excited to play it. It is called 3 Count Bout.
Okay, and that's for the arcade.
So, 3 Count Bout, released by SNK.
Oh, we're doing the episode now?
No.
Okay.
But I was going to say
damn, I don't have a question of the week.
So, 3 Count Bout, released by SNK, which I don't know if you know a lot about SNK, but they're known for like those arcade fighter style games. They have like Capcom versus SNK and
yeah, I mean it looks like
very
Saturday Night Slam Masters mixed with Wrestle War, so
I'm kind of interested. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes.
Couple familiar faces. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I think it's time to put a bow on it, John. What do you think?
Put that damn bow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. It is currently the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to this podcast wherever podcasts can be found. Thanks for hanging out this week. Thanks for sitting through all these episodes with us. We hope we are able to provide a little bit of entertainment in this weird, crazy world that's going on right now. But one thing is always consistent. We come, we play the games, we rate the games, and at the end of every episode, Johnny Clash says goodbye.
Goodbye! Game over, Marks. Hey guys, Johnny here. While we love talking about video games and wrestling here on the podcast, we wanted to share with you a new offer from our friends at Stitcher. An enormous amount of shows and bonus episodes are available on Stitcher Premium, such as Office Ladies, Comedy Bang Bang, WTF with Mark Aaron, How Did This Get Made, Bitch Sesh, True Crime Garage, Marvel's Wolverine, and plenty more. Right now you could sign up for Stitcher Premium for only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year using our code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Head on over to Stitcher.com/premium for this amazing deal and a free month. That's Stitcher.com/premium and use code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Game on, Marks.